Basketball fans, welcome to Canada's home for Talking Hoops. This is the Hangout. I am Akil Augustine, and we got a super panel to break down these guys. The Toronto Raptors, of course, the whole city's on fire. We got our superstar, of course, Cabral Richards. Cabbie, my old mentor, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
Okay, we got one of the most controversial people on the radio. You know him and love him, TSN's one-on-one main man, Will Strickland.
What's going on, Akil?
And then there's my partner in crime and fellow union member, Duane Watson. Duane, thank you for returning to the couch.
Always a pleasure.
Okay, let's get into it. The Toronto Raptors just had, what a game. Quarters 1 through 3 were the greatest Raptors game in history. Most of quarter 4 was the worst Raptor game in history. And then the end returned to the greatest Raptor game in history. Cabbie, walk us through your experience. We know you were out in the crowd. You were out front for most of the week, but talk about last night.
It was when the Raptors were up by 26 points in the third, I said to my producer Dave, I'm like, this is going to be the true test for the team, to see if they can weather this, see if they can maintain this lead. I mean, that's a gross lead, but just maintain a double-digit lead.
It's rare you ever get leads like that in the playoffs.
100%. And then, you know, just for the Nets to score 44 points in the fourth quarter, I was just like, I was amazed. I was in there just like dumbfounded. I was shocked. But then, you know, that just goes to it just shows that the Nets have so much resolve, and the Raptors just got too comfortable.
Way too comfortable.
Yeah, it was quite an experience. I mean, the city's happy with the result, but Dwayne Casey's got to be upset with that process.
Old school basketball fan Will Strickland. What was your takeaway from that game? Terrence Ross finally showed up for the Raptors.
Absolutely, and just to be clear, there's only one school, and that's the true school of basketball.
Okay, so it's not old school, it's true school.
No doubt, no doubt.
Okay,
just to be clear,
He's full of that stuff.
Just to be clear, Terrence Ross finally showed up, but what happened to Jonas in the fourth? Why was he anchored to the bench? No diss to Chuck Hayes, but if you're up 26, I understand the game is of runs. You're going to make a run. How you sustain those runs is important. So how do you handle prosperity? The Raptors have to do better in Game 5 or Game 6 to go on to the next round.
I was kind of disappointed in the whole game. I mean, the Raptors.
What? The whole game?
The whole game? Were you watching?
There's no way.
The fourth quarter last game, they were fantastic, so strong. This game, first two.
You're talking about Game 4?
Yeah, Game 4.
Yeah, strong
fourth quarter,
yeah.
shut them down, fantastic, great momentum. This game, first half, amazing, and then third quarter, they won the third quarter for a change, and they collapsed in the fourth quarter. And the momentum they lost, because Brooklyn's got to feel good going to Game 6, knowing that they've got 44 points in the fourth quarter.
I wouldn't even think about that because in the playoffs, you have to have a short memory. Whatever happened in the game before, and we've seen this in the playoffs. This is why this has been the best playoffs in history.
Yes.
That teams who you don't think would win the games are winning games right now.
Coach K is not mad at it. They were down 26 and they came back.
Absolutely.
Yeah, a lot of that Kyle Lowry was on the bench, so I want to get into that matchup. What happened to Darren Williams? There were a few years ago, Darren Williams and Chris Paul were head and shoulders above everybody else playing the point guard position in the NBA. What happened? There was no significant trauma to his knee. There was no concussion that caused his brain to stop functioning like a point guard. What happened to Darren Williams? Because Kyle Lowry lit him up. And when Kyle Lowry's not on the floor, the Raptors are hurting.
Well, Kyle Lowry's been a better point guard than Darren Williams all season. I mean, to his credit, Darren Williams, when Brooklyn's won, he's like 23 points a game. He's been great. But he's not the same guy he was a few years ago.
Well, what happened? I've never seen it.
He's too busy killing coaches.
Well, that might be it too, but it's a Steve Francis-like fall-off.
Whoa. No, this is Steve Francis on
No, it's the truth. It's the truth, though. Steve Francis was an all-star, and then the next year, he couldn't make a basket. You see that with Roy Hibbert right now. He's the new age Hasheem Thabeet.
Okay, let's not get to Roy Hibbert because we're going to talk about him a little bit later. But now let's
more matchups. More matchups with Atlanta.
An interesting tweet came out, of course. The Brooklyn Nets Twitter account, and you know who was running the account that night.
I forget, but he's a journalist in New Jersey. Excuse me, in Brooklyn. Len something.
Len something.
LP or is it
LR.
It doesn't matter. Sent out an amazing tweet.
Right.
Well, especially if you're a Raptor fan, telling Brooklyn fans basically, you guys need to look at what's happening in Toronto because those are real fans and replicate that kind of environment. Can they even do that? I mean, the first-year team in Brooklyn, they come from New Jersey. There's a lot of stuff going on in New York. They got to compete for attention, and Toronto's starved for this. They cannot match the scene that's going on in Toronto.
Well, I guess it just goes to show that New York is still a Knicks town, even though the Knicks are abysmal. You know, the fans in Brooklyn just I don't know. It's like a new, you know, it's like a new car, and you're supposed to be enthusiastic or excited about a new car, but it's like they're
like. Does that make Phil Jackson rims?
No, I'll tell you what it is. The people in Brooklyn are not from Brooklyn because of the hipster movement.
All the gentrification.
Exactly.
Well said.
All these guys are new to Brooklyn, so they don't cheer the same way. They probably ate granola back in the day. That's not Brooklyn.
But I mean, look at the history of the franchise, though. I mean,
See?
whether it's New Jersey or Brooklyn, they don't have a legacy of great stuff. I mean, this Toronto, the city, this country is we the North. That's all it is. Everyone is so excited and so jacked.
Look at this guy.
Yo, that's what it
we
is.
don't have a legacy of winning either.
No, I
However,
know.
but the enthusiasm in the city
Absolutely.
It's overwhelming. Exactly.
They're hungry for
and
it.
everyone has seen it.
They're starving for it. Listen, we are the North, and we are the Hangout. We will be back with more. We still got to break down one of the most controversial things to happen to the NBA ever. The fallout from Sterling Gate. More on that when we return on the Hangout.